Multiple state officials are set to join residents of the West Street Village mobile home community in Ludlow for a rally that coincides with an appeal concerning a proposed lot rent increase. Western Mass News reporter Taylor Smith in studio with those details. Taylor, what can you share with us about this increase?
Well, David, residents, particularly seniors and those on fixed incomes, are concerned about the impact of this increase on their affordability and quality of life. Now, the rally is taking place outside the Western Housing Court in Springfield, where an appeal is being heard regarding a proposed lot rent increase from $207 to $503 a month, which is a significant 150% hike. The new landlord, Lennon, argues that the increase is necessary for maintaining the park, as it has not seen a rent increase in 19 years. Many longtime residents expressing concerns that the sudden rent increase may jeopardize affordable housing, and Senator Oliveira and Representative Saunders plan to support residents by sharing their stories and advocating for fair housing practices during this rally. Now, this rally will be taking place once again outside of Western Housing Court in Springfield, and Western Mass News will continue to keep you updated. And I'm reporting live in the studio this morning, Taylor Smith, Western Mass News.
Taylor, thank you.